The arrest and revelation. The sharp click of handcuffs echoed in the afternoon. Air as officers Riggs and Delaney roughly pushed. Marcus Johnson against their squad car. His black leather security bib, emblazoned with bold white letters, flapped in the wind, a stark contrast to the grim expressions of the officers. Should have thought twice before playing dress-up. "Pal," one of them, Riggs, sneered. His eyes narrowed in disdain. Marcus, however, met his gaze with an unwavering intensity. "You have no idea who you just arrested," he stated. His voice calm despite the circumstances. Just then, a crackle from the radio broke the tension, a call coming in that would irrevocably shatter their lives. Hours later, the precinct was a maelstrom of chaos. Phones rang incessantly, their shrill cries a backdrop to the clamor of reporters, swarming outside the building. Riggs and Delaney, the very officers who had dragged Marcus in, sat frozen at their desks, their eyes glued to a news headline flashing across. A screen. "Federal agent wrongfully detained. Department under investigation." "We're done for," one of them whispered, the realization dawning on their faces. How had it come to this? Marcus Johnson wasn't just a security guard. He was an undercover FBI agent deeply entrenched in a high-stakes operation. His target, a dangerous trafficking ring operating near the city's bustling downtown district. His uniform, a meticulously crafted disguise, was an essential component of his cover. But to officers Riggs and Delaney, Marcus was simply another black man caught in what they perceived as the wrong place at the wrong time. For months, Marcus had meticulously built trust within the criminal organization, every move calculated to avoid detection. One misstep, one wrong assumption, could blow his cover and jeopardize the entire operation. Now, thanks to the overzealous actions of two local cops, everything was teetering on the brink of collapse. The incident had begun with a seemingly routine call about a suspicious person near a closed storefront. Marcus had been conducting surveillance, observing a crucial meetup, when Riggs and Delaney's patrol car rolled up, tires squealing, guns already drawn. Marcus instinctively reached for his badge, a move to identify himself, but they gave him no chance to speak. "You match a description," Riggs snapped, his voice tight with authority. Marcus, maintaining his composure, kept his voice steady. "Check my ID, call my supervisor." Delaney let out a derisive laugh. "Yeah, we'll do that after processing." The moment Marcus anticipated arrest, he knew he had one. Critical call to make. A call that would not only change his immediate situation, but completely flip the script on Riggs and Delaney. The fallout and reckoning. The police station erupted in a frenzy of activity. The moment Marcus's phone call connected. It wasn't a lawyer on the other end, but Assistant Director Cole of the FBI. Within minutes, a phalanx of federal agents descended upon the precinct, their presence radiating an undeniable authority. Riggs and Delaney's smirks vanished, replaced by pale, panicked expressions, as Cole stormed in, holding up Marcus's official FBI credentials for all to see. "You just compromised a 6-month operation." Cole's voice boomed, the accusation hanging heavy in the air. Panic swiftly set in among the local officers. InternalAffairs was immediately notified. The trafficking suspects Marcus had been tracking had vanished into thin air, and the media, sensing a major story, was already circling like vultures. Marcus, now no longer a detainee but the one in a position of power, sat across from Riggs and Delaney in the interrogation room. His voice was cold, devoid of emotion. "You had one job," he stated, his gaze unwavering. "Verify before you arrest." Delaney's face blanched, the color draining from it. "We didn't know," he stammered, a weak excuse. "That's the problem," Marcus retorted, a file sliding across the table between them. It contained their disciplinary records, a litany of previous complaints, a clear pattern of questionable conduct. Marcus leaned in, his voice dropping to a low, deliberate tone. "Now let's talk about accountability." The consequences were swift and brutal. Riggs's wife called, her screams of reporters at their doorstep audible even through the phone. Delaney's partner, disgusted by their actions, turned in his badge, refusing to be associated with them. The department, scrambling desperately to save face and quell the growing public outrage, announced Riggs and Delaney's immediate suspension pending termination. From the shadows, Marcus watched, his jaw tight. His mission, the culmination of months of painstaking work, was undeniably ruined, but theirs, their careers and reputations, were utterly destroyed. At the subsequent press conference, Marcus stood stoically beside Assistant Director Cole, camera flashes illuminating their faces. "We take police misconduct seriously," Cole declared, his voice resolute. "And we protect our own." Riggs and Delaney, now mere spectators, watched from the back of the room. Two former officers whose careers had been reduced to ashes. Marcus locked eyes with them one last time, no words necessary. Justice, in its own way, had been served. Weeks later, Marcus received a new assignment. The trafficking ring had scattered, but the fight against them was far from over. As he adjusted his security bib, now a badge of resilience and determination rather than just a disguise, he glanced at the news. Riggs and Delaney, stripped of their pensions and facing multiple lawsuits, were front-page news. Marcus exhaled slowly. They had made their choices, and he, in turn, had made his.